Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I'm Lisbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is mostly about knitting, but I do a lot of other crafts as well. As you will see this week because I've been doing some sewing and some embroidery as well. Thank you so much for joining me. It really means a lot that you take some time out of your day to spend it with me. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's get into the real episode bit. And I must tell you guys, this week has been quite productive for me. And I think the main reason why is because my boyfriend is finally allowed to drive a car again because it's 6 weeks after his surgery. And he's doing, well, in most parts, absolutely great. And it means that he went back to work this week. So I've been applying for a job from home and I've spent a lot of my time at home. And of course, I've been calling and emailing and stuff like that to get, to try and get a job. But it also meant that I had a lot of time at home to craft. And with him out of the home, it suddenly feels like there's all this space and time and more freedom to make blunders in my crafts or something. I don't know what it is, but with his laptop not on the desk anymore, my sewing really went up this week. So not to say that I don't like him around or anything, but I'm also kind of glad that things are, maybe it's just that things are back to normal again because he's supposed to be there and it feels like everything is just getting back to normal a bit more. I don't know what it is, but it happened and I think it definitely has to do with him going back to work. So that was nice. So let's get into what I've been doing this week because as I said, I've been sewing a bit. So you guys will have seen some of these bags before. And they are all the same pattern that I designed. They're Japanese knot bags, but with a flat bottom. And these guys were, well, I don't know if it were these individuals, but these guys were very close to being finished. But now they are actually finished, like the lining on the inside is closed now, and there's some top stitching, and you guys may be able, well, I don't expect you to, but if you would go back and check out one of the previous episodes in which I've shown these bags, they did not look as nice and flat and everything, and it has everything to do with the top stitching. So I've made these bags with a seahorse pattern on it. I really liked both fabrics, and blue and white are obviously colors that I like because, you know, wearing the same colors. Totally skip that part. And then there's a very similar one. The colors are reversed in the sense that, you can see what I mean by reversed, like the white parts are blue and the blue parts are white. And this one has a different color of lining, and I've made 2 of each. And I'm planning to put these in an Etsy store soon. And I've been on Etsy, I've claimed a name for my shop. I'm not going to share it yet because I'm not opening my shop yet. Because I am waiting for some labels to arrive to put on here, and I'm not really sure where I'm going to put them on. Maybe I'm just going to sew them like somewhere on the inside. Might be nice, but they will state that they are made by me, and I think that just adds a little to the bag. So, and of course, if you want them off, they will be sewn on like in a way that you could also remove them if you have like the thread cutter, or how's that equipment called in English? We say tornmesje. So there you have it. It's tornmesje. And if you don't understand it, then there's probably going to be a translation here. So I've stayed in the theme of seahorses a little, and apart from sewing, well, I think embroidery is kind of sewing. I mean, you're making stitches with a needle, and I've been making this teeny tiny little seahorse, and I've bought this new embroidery hoop to do so. Yeah, so it's not finished yet. It lacks some color in the eyes, and there will be some more details on it, but I just really liked this teeny tiny fella, and I'm not sure, maybe I will eventually make a bag with like a piece of this on it, probably other colors, I don't know. These were just some leftovers that I had because when I was younger and I still lived at my parents' place, I would often just go to the attic where my mom kept all of her craft supplies, and then just basically go diving through her stash until I found something that I wanted to use, and then I cleaned them, took them to my room, and did something with it. And some of these things, well, she hasn't been embroidering for years, so she was okay with that, me claiming those things, and actually quite happy that they were still being used at all, because, you know, a lot of projects, they just tend to have scraps, leftovers, and sometimes these bits are a bit difficult to start doing anything with at a later point. So I know that she has made these huge panels of embroidery, like instead of the alphabet, there's a system in the Netherlands, and it may be similar in other languages, but there's like pictures and then the words below there, and it's a huge piece. It's like this, and probably embroidered as fine as this. So it must have taken ages to complete that work. And there's several more beautiful birds that she has embroidered, but she doesn't do that anymore. So, well, maybe at some point, but then again, if I find a job, I can easily find new craft supplies for her if she ever needs some. And of course, she works herself as well, so she could afford her own craft supplies if she needed to. So that was that, I guess. So I'm trying to get a little bit into embroidery, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this piece. So I didn't even know if I was going to make like a lot of them. So I have like this entire piece of embroidery background fabric. I'm only using this teeny tiny part, and like I'm working right on the edge. It's probably not a smart thing to do, but you know, guys, I don't know the first thing about embroidery. I just did some cross stitching in the past, and you will have seen my pincushion, maybe not. Just checked. It's not right next to me, so I'm not going to show you guys, but maybe I'll put it in a picture. I'll probably put it in a picture. Yeah, so there are some more advanced, or at least different stitches in that cushion than are in here, because these are just simple cross stitch things. I don't know if I should call this embroidery, or maybe it's just a part of embroidery. I don't know. Anyway, in the Netherlands we often call this embroidery. And I found this teeny tiny embroidery hook at a store that is actually really close to me, and also very close to my other local yarn shop. And I was kind of surprised that there were two that close to each other. And I looked on their website, and they said they had embroidery stuff. And so I went there trying to find some good embroidery floss for the tulip bouquet that I want to make for my aunt. But really, I was disappointed when I went into that store. I know why I hadn't found it before, and why this website is not so prominent as several others. They were like, yeah, we only have 12 colors, or I don't know if it's 12, maybe it was 8, maybe it was 10, maybe it was 20, I don't know. But in embroidery colors, well, if you've seen some stores that offer embroidery supplies, they have like 150 or maybe more than that. And they could order them all, but I wanted to go to a brick and mortar store to like hold the flosses and pieces of floss next to each other and see which colors went together. And they couldn't offer me that. They directed me to their website to check out their color card, and I tried that, but it was like this tiny of a picture that wouldn't enlarge properly on my computer. Now that might be my computer's fault, might not be their fault. But I was like, no, no, I'm not going to do that. But they did have this teeny tiny embroidery hoop, and I do have some others. They are wooden, but they are a lot larger as well. And since I was working on only this tiny piece, I thought, okay, so I am here now, so let's just buy this tiny embroidery hoop and then just go and probably never ever come back. I don't know. Maybe if I change my mind. Also, they had some well, what they call wool, but it's actually yarn. And in Dutch, we often use wool to point in the direction of yarn. So it does not necessarily have anything to do with the fiber content. And they only had one type of wool, actual wool yarn that was not at least 40% acrylic as well. And I know there's advantages to using acrylic in the sense that some people can't stand to work with wool, and that's totally fine if you want to use it. But she said she didn't have too much wool because wool made her itchy. And I thought acrylic makes me itchy, so that's why I don't like to use it. But it was just completely not a store that I would go to again, I think. But I wasn't too impressed. It really makes me happy with the local yarn shop that I do have, because they have an amazing selection of yarn. I wish they would carry some Norwegian yarn, but in fact they do carry Kauni yarn, so Estonian yarn. I'm not sure if I pronounced this correctly, but it's a very appropriate yarn for color work. And they have Holst super soft yarn, so that's also very good for color work. They do have it on the cones, and you can just like order any multiple of 10-gram yarn. So it is actually an amazing store, and I know that the most part of their shop is filled with yarns that I'm less interested in, but that's always going to be the case. I'm not going to buy an entire yarn store, because there will always be, like, even if it's my favorite yarn, there's colors that are not my favorite colors, so you know, or not appropriate for the project that I have in mind or something. So let's go on with the next project, and it's another sewing project, and here it is. So I've talked about my aunt's birthday and wanting to make her a bag, and here it is, and you can see the lining fabric here. So it's the red diamond, maybe? I don't know what you would call this shape actually. Gingham? Whatever. So she is completely into tulips, so I made her this bag with a lot of tulips on it. And as pretty as I've heard a lot of people say that it looks, it was a pain in the ass to make it, because this fabric, it looks like it has these squares, like you can see there's probably a square with a little guy watching in that direction there. I can't see it because I'm on the other side of this bag. But it looks like it's square. It is totally not square. It is skewed as badly as you can imagine. So it's really hard to put on like your pattern piece and cut it out and then have the tulips on the side without it looking completely crazy. So yeah, I as much as I think I like the result, oh my god, this just took me at least 1 or 1.5 hours more to cut out and sew up, just because this fabric is so annoying in not being exactly straight. And it's not because I didn't put the pattern pieces on the lines of the fabric. If those were like exactly horizontal and exactly vertical, then the pattern would be like not in this. It wasn't aligned with those lines, and it was just a pain in the ass to make it. Now this bag is, well, I'm not really sure if I closed the lining actually. Let me check. I haven't closed the lining yet. So I know that my aunt's birthday has passed now, so I'm a bit late with this birthday present for her. But I think that I'm going to visit the town where she lives, which is quite a ways away from here, in a few weeks when my grandma has her birthday and they live in the same town. So one more thing about these bags. I ordered labels to put on the bags, and where I was expecting to have it shipped to me and be at my place today, probably. I just got a mail that said that it would be here somewhere between tomorrow and I think late next week or something. I don't know the exact date actually, maybe even the week after, because it's international shipping apparently. I wasn't aware of it. I should pay more attention to this because it's the second time that this happened to me. It will probably get to me soon anyway, so we'll see when it's there, probably next week, and hopefully I will get around to sewing these labels on these bags. So that's it for the sewing and embroidery content. So next up, I do have some projects to talk about, and they are all knitting. First of all, very quickly, I've been working on this sock a little bit, and I was trying to design a mermaid still, and as you can see, it's a very tiny sock. No, this is not the second sock, this is still the first sock. And the reason why is because I'm just not happy with what I did, and actually I'm not really feeling it. So I think I'm just going to pause these and probably put them on some other needles to, free the needles from some other project, and just cast on socks that are really screaming to be knit out of this yarn. This yarn really screams like, I want to be socks as high as possible on your calves. So I think that's going to be my next project, even though I already have a sock project. I'm just not feeling it, so I'm going to pause it. I don't really do that very often, but now I'm just not feeling it. I had some design ideas. They're not working out, so I just have to think real hard if I still want to continue trying to make a design that doesn't actually work, or figure out a way to make it work, or if I'm just going to knit. Well, actually, it's going to be another design. Oh, very smart, Lisbeth. Way to go. Just if one design project doesn't work and you're getting frustrated because it doesn't work, try another project that might not work. Brilliant idea. Oh, wait. No. I don't know. Sometimes I just think of myself a little bit silly. But I do have a lot clearer of an idea of what I want with these, so I think this should definitely work. So I'm going to try anyway, even if it's a stupid idea. And it's also going to be valid for the one skein along that Lily Pond Yarns are hosting in their podcast. So they have a knit along going for projects knit out of one skein. So please check out their podcast to see what it's all about. And you get extra entries if you use their yarn. And this is a skein of their yarns. This is Lily Pond Yarns in their teal tussle colorway. And I'm not sure at all if they do any repeating colorways at all. They seem to have a lot of colorways that they only have a few of. and maybe they're looking for ones to keep repeating. I don't know what their system is. So I know that you guys may be watching. So if you would like to explain, please leave a comment. You know, it's totally fine. Even if you spell my name wrong, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, so I really want to wind this up and start knitting it. So instead of working a lot on this sock, I've been working a little bit on my blanket, and I finished another square for the border, and it's right here. And the last bit that I knit yesterday was this black part, and I think last week I was on the cast on of this blue section, so I was picking up stitches along the edges of these three colors to to start knitting this blue part. And then after the blue part I only had to do this black section, and I went to my knit group twice this week because on Wednesday morning I didn't really have anything better to do, so I went to the knit group on Wednesday mornings as well, because they have a Wednesday morning event as well, which I usually don't go to because if I'm not free on Wednesday morning I can't go. But this week I was free, so I actually had quite a bit of progress, and I've also cast on the next square, and I've got this far. Look guys, it's so exciting. It's almost finished. Well, no, it's just past the cast on. So I just cast on in a long tail cast on for the first square, and then I knit like back and forth to make the center square. Like so I cast on in red here, and I knit in this direction, and then I just leave these stitches open, and then I leave not a needle, but you know, the cord, or the flexible cord part of a circular needle through here. Then I pick up stitches along the edge, and then I knit the green section. Well, of course it could be other colors if I happen to randomly roll other colors with my 10-sided dice. Dice? What's the single, or the word for just one of them? I don't know. So, and then I knit this section in this direction, and then I pick up stitches along these two edges, and I knit the next section in this direction. I keep this stitches on the needle as well, and these also stay alive stitches. Then I cast on or pick up stitches along this edge here, and I knit this section, which I already cast off as I knit it, so those don't stay really live. Then I pick up stitches along this edge. Well, it's actually just a log cabin thing. So that's how I knit these squares, and I'm working on, well, the equivalent of the red section here in the bigger square. And this is the 4th out of the 10 border squares that I need to knit before I can do the mitered square center part that I've done for the other half of the blankets. So yeah, there's progress, and I'm quite happy with it. And going to my knit group twice meant that I had about twice as much progress as I usually have. So that's good. And it's a bringless knit, so that's very good as well. So then there's been one more project, and it has gotten the most of my attention this week. And this project is my own design, or well, I'm not really sure if I'm going to write it up as a design, but we will see. Maybe, of course, if you guys say like you really like it, or like the pattern or whatever. I don't think the colors are too exciting, so maybe that's not a good idea if you're designing, but who knows, maybe you guys are more into these colors as well, because they're nice and neutral, and my yarn is stuck somewhere. So, and it is my cardigan, and you guys, it actually looks like a cardigan this time. I mean, I don't know if you guys can really see it, because, you know, I can't see what you guys will see, so I will only see this while I'm editing. So there, the sleeves, they were finished already. I was like at a smaller point, so like halfway on the body until the sleeves, and the sleeves are actually knit into the body right now. And yeah, I think I'm like here somewhere. If I have to point to a position on my body where it would sit right now. So I'm quite happy with the progress. I was hoping to have it finished this week. Maybe it will still be this week because, you know, this is a Friday morning and I still have a Friday afternoon and a Saturday and a Sunday to knit. So who knows? I still don't have buttons though. So that's maybe something I should start looking into now, fast. But yeah, it's getting there, and I'm quite happy with how it's turning out. And the cable is running along the side nicely, and even though there's some increases which disturb the pattern, I don't think it's really a problem. Like I think somewhere around here there's a line of waist shaping, and I don't think it's too bad. I was kind of worried that it might disturb the pattern a lot, but it really doesn't, at least not in my opinion. So maybe that has to do with the yarn being more rustic, so that you can't see the pattern too well anyway. But yeah, I really like the way this is turning out, and oh my god, it does not feel very soft, but it feels like it is going to hold up forever. So that's really nice. And the special thing to me about this yarn is not only the neutral color, so it's undyed yarn. It is from, I believe, mostly a Dutch sheep breed. I don't know if it's actually this breed because it doesn't state anywhere on the label. And but I've been looking on the website of this yarn brand. So this is the Tuanti Ravelry. I'm not even, it doesn't even say Tuanti. Oh yes, it says tuanti.nl. So that's their website. But it just says like knitting wool from Twente and Achterhoek, which are both regions in the Netherlands. So Twente is slightly to the north of Achterhoek, but they're quite close, and in traditions I'd say quite similar, although I believe one region is well, the dominant religions in those parts traditionally were, I think, different. I'm not really sure about this, so maybe I should not provide you with false information about this. So, but it is 100% wool. It states so here on the label, and it is their natural color. And I believe that the sheep that actually has this color, and from their website they had like several different breeds of sheep that actually walk around in these parts of the Netherlands. And this just looks like their blauwe tesselaar sheep. So that's the blue tassels sheep or something. I don't know if you translate the name of a sheep. Grace? Sheep breed? I don't know. But I think it's a Dutch sheep breed that is actually walking around in the Netherlands and close to where I was born. So I think that's very special, and it's not super wash treated, I believe. So yeah, I really like this. I really like products from the area where you live. Like there are so many great wools out there, and of course there's a lot of them that's just screen to you know, be tried out and be knit with. So there's a lot of American yarns that I would love to try, but I really want to support a community of local yarns that are being produced, because I think this is very important, and these kinds of rustic yarns, they do have a strong appeal to me, because you know, I like Norwegian yarns as well, and Swedish yarns, and Danish, like the rustic yarns that are perfect color work, and the Shetland yarns that I've tried, amazing to work with, especially for color work. Maybe not so much perfect for, you know, cables or seed stitch patterns, but I just love working with it. And I do definitely think there's a place for these yarns as well. And I hope by supporting them that you know that we can develop maybe some more local yarns that are actually from the sheep that we have walking around here, because I've heard from a lot of sheep owners around here that they are breeding sheep that automatically lose their fur so that they won't have to be shaved because the wool otherwise gets thrown away. And as a knitter, it sounds a bit sad. Like these animals are walking around there anyway, and we want them there because they graze on the grasses that are not allowed to get too high. For instance, on our dikes that you know, keep us safe from water, or in a lot of other areas they just increase biodiversity. And I think it would be sad if this wool would just be someone else's trash. And as knitter, it's hard to imagine that it can be, and I know that not every bit of wool can be used, and there's limits to the use of wool, and that there's a lot of other textiles that are very versatile as well. But yeah, it just feels kind of sad that it could be waste. And I just wish that there were more spinning mills in the Netherlands, and that we could have like really locally produced yarns. And I would really want to support that. So I think that's it for today. So thank you so much for joining me. And I know that this has been a quite ranty episode. Maybe next time I will try again to use some show notes, even though I'm not particularly good at sticking to what I plan to talk about. I do think it gives me some structure and some peace in mind, because I know that I've talked about this topic, so I can go to the next, and maybe I should just write a list of topics that I want to talk about. So my show notes will just be the ones that you will see below the episode, like on YouTube. There's a video description, and in this description box I usually leave a lot of links to all the places where you can find more about the stuff that I talk about, unless I specifically choose not to, because I don't want to, name the shop that I was disappointed about, because I don't want to offend anybody. So, okay, there are some crazy cars going outside. So this is going to be like the 5th time that I say something like, thank you guys so much for joining me. And I hope to see you next time. Have a lovely week, and bye!